Hello guys, Warhammer back with another Ultimate Modded campaign, this time for Cathay, where we are going to be playing a legendary campaign as Miao Ying, checking out some of the changes she got in update 6.1. As always, we're going to start with a quick overview of all the mods in the collection, as well as a unit showcase. Also, quick note that I have set up the mod collection in the order you should have things loaded so that you don't have any problems. That said, let's look at our mods. So our first two are just to enable the rest of the mods. So we have Mixer, Mixers and Locker, and the Mod Configuration Tool. The Mod Configuration Tool, if you have never used it before, you can access it up here before a campaign in the top left corner. With this, you can adjust several of the mods if that has been enabled in this tool by the mod's author. For this one, for example, you can enable or disable certain units if you don't want to see them in your campaign. But with that, we have our first great mod called Tigerman of Cathay. It is an excellent mod, very cool. This adds the Tigerman, adding a whole new group of units, a new lord, 2 new heroes, and just very well done models and voiceover work. It's really awesome. And with that go 2 mods called the Audio Mixer and Champions of Undeath Audio Reservoir. These are to enable some of the unique sounds and voiceover work that has been done for the Tigerman. Then we have Ovian Lost World. This is a really nice thematic mod. This changes the looks, names, and sometimes adds landmarks to settlements across the campaign map. It really adds lots of flavor, and I really enjoy the look it adds. It just immerses you in the world a little bit more. Then we have our campaign and battle weather overhauls. These 2 mods together adjust the weather and look and lighting of campaign map and battles. So on the campaign map, for example, if you're over mountains, you'll see snow. If you're kind of near coast areas, you'll see rain. With corruption, you'll actually see the corruption much more in the air. Overall, they just make the map and battles feel a lot more alive. And for battles in particular, it really makes night battles feel actually like you're fighting during the night. Adds some real darkness in the atmosphere. Then we have the unique faction UI. So this changes the UI for every race you're going to play as. For Cathay, we will see like more dragon themes, more oriental, yin and yang, and things like that. It just helps each race feel a little bit more unique. Then we have the immersive battle banners. This adjusts the look of several races' faction icons, and on the campaign map it will affect all the races, not just the one you're playing as. Sometimes it adds a little lore flavor. This will also affect battle banners and unit flags when you're in a battle, makes them a little bit more distinct and easier to read. Then we have Building Progression Icons 3. Like its name would imply, this adds a progression to building tiers and provides a good, clear indication of what tier your buildings are at. Then getting into the actual meat and potatoes of our mods. So for the first one, we have Morangi's Cathay Caravan mod. This is a dynamic mod that adjusts the caravans to be a little bit more of a risk-reward system. So your cargo for your caravan is going to be very important because the more cargo you have, the more appealing it is for raiders and bandits to attack you, so you'll see more encounters because of that. And because of that, you'll be able to recruit units more frequently, and the enemies you will face have a little bit more variety as well. It does also change the types of heroes you can recruit, so instead of an Empire Captain, you can get a Grey Wizard, you can still get your Elven Noble, but you can also get an Alchemist, which is pretty cool. And throughout your campaign, you can actually accrue faction-wide bonuses for all your caravans that will benefit those heroes. Additionally, it does adjust the Wujing War Compass for the Warpstone Desert direction, and allows you to get more frequent unit recruitment and things like that to go along with the other changes it does implement. We also have 2 other great mods by Morangi. First is the Great Bastion Expansion mod. The intent of this mod is to create a more interactive feature for Cathay. This is going to add a lot of cool features to the Great Bastion. It is going to greatly increase the variety of invaders and enemies you'll face at the Great Bastion. So not just Norsk anymore, but sometimes you'll see Beams of Chaos, Monogods, Warriors of Chaos, Chaos Storms, and things like that. So invasions are also going to be able to spawn reinforcements, so you're going to want to take them out. This will also introduce random attacks by other races such as Greenskins, Skaven, Dark Elves, and things like that. And corruption is going to play a larger role in the Great Bastion. So when corruption is more present across the other provinces of Cathay, it's actually going to increase the threat meter on the Great Bastion. It also includes the popular request that the Bastion not suffer any siege attrition to any of the garrison forces. Now, there are special bonuses for each of the legendary lords, but for this campaign in particular for Miao Ying, and she actually gets a chance to spawn new unusual locations that only can appear at the Great Bastion. This also addresses another common complaint of the Great Bastion, in that the invasion forces could basically never be turned off, With this mod, however, if you capture the regions outside of the Great Bastion, actually, you can stop those invasions completely, so you don't have to deal with that later in your campaign, once you have complete control. The other great mod by Morangi actually expands the Wujing Compass. Each direction will also have some scaling effects depending on how long you have set the compass there, so the energy builds up. Something that I think is really cool as well is that because the Wujing Compass is manipulating the winds of magic, it can actually charge up the compass and risks a chaos incursion, which is pretty cool. So periodically you need to use the Warpstone Desert direction to get rid of that, otherwise you'll sometimes have chaos incursions, which I really like. That kind of makes the campaign a little bit more dynamic. For each of the main 4 directions available to all the Cathay Legendary Lords, they all have some unique cool effects. For example, the Great Bastion, the longer it's directed in that direction, you can actually have the chance for an AI-friendly army to be spawned outside the Bastion that will attack enemies. For the Celestial Lake, you can build up a tribute that basically becomes a big boost, sort of like an island encounter, which can also draw on bandits if you don't claim it fast enough. With the Dragon Emperor's Wrath, it's also really cool because it can give some bound abilities to your Ashermancers and Wujing War Compasses when it's fully charged, increasing their spell intensity faction-wide. All 3 of these really add a lot to the base Cathay mechanics, and will just make them a lot more interesting and interactive, and hopefully dynamic to where your campaigns feel a lot more satisfying. Next, we have a really awesome mod called Roar of the Jade Sea, Ying the Sea Dragon. So this adds another legendary lord for Cathay who is one of the dragon siblings. Yin is the sea dragon, and she covers Cathay's coast. She will start in Lustria, but she brings with her a whole lot of new units which are very, very cool, that are kind of pirate themed, or actually some stuff in Nippon. And part of this mod also changes some enemies around Lokir Felhart's position and out in Lustria. That actually adds some pirates and stuff, which is pretty cool. We will check out the units this adds on later in the unit showcase. Next, we have Eustace's Cathay Artillery Pack. This adds several new artillery units for Cathay, kind of playing more into their gunpowder theme. Then we have Fire Lancers, Cathayan Shock Troops. So this is really, really cool mod. I'm very glad we could include it. So like Eustace's artillery mod, this adds some new units, both melee and ranged, that play on the gunpowder theme of Cathay and give them some devastating options. For example, we have the Fire Lancers, who have a short-range explosive shot that is kind of like a precursor weapon, like the Chameleon Stalkers, that makes them really good after they break that formation with the shot to go in for a charge. After that, we have Guardian Lion Riders of Cathay. So this adds 2 Monstrous Cavalry variants for Cathay. Along with it comes an English patch mod that fills in all the text in English so you don't have any missing info on them. Then we have Cathayan Power. So this adds 2 variants to the Skyjunks, giving Cathay a little bit more air superiority. After that, we have Dead's Cathay Unit Pack. This adds a good variety of units, so some infantry, some artillery, and some cavalry and things like that. The big highlight of this mod for me is the Divine Lance artillery piece, which is actually like a big harpoon mounted on top of a dragon turtle, so it's pretty cool. Next, we have Grand Cathay Expanded Hero Skill Trees. This allows your heroes to select some new skills as they level up, and once they reach a high enough level, they can dedicate themselves to certain specializations. Then we have Sinja skills for Grand Cathay. This adds some new skills to Miao Ying, Zhao Ming, and Yuan Bo, letting them select some skills that add some more bonuses to their thematic units. Overall, just enticing you to use a little bit more thematic armies with them. I really, really like this. Then we have Cathay Tech Tree. This adds several new technologies to the Cathay technology tree. It should incorporate most, if not all, of the mod units that are included in this collection and give benefits to them. Then our last Cathay-specific mod is called Magistrates Ottomans for Cathay. This mod ports over the Kislev Ottoman mechanic for Cathay. It does not currently incorporate the changes that Kislev Ottomans received in Update 6.1, but it still does work according to the old system, but I am hoping that it will be updated to incorporate the new Kislev changes that came along with its rework. We will not start the campaign with this mod active, hoping that it will be updated and ready to be added later in the campaign. It usually is save compatible, so we'll see if that turns out not to be the case. Then our last 2 mods are ones that I enjoy with any campaign, both dealing with experience. The first one is Garrison Training. This makes it so that garrisons accrue 1 unit rank every 10 turns up to rank 6. It makes garrisons feel a lot more viable, and it goes well with our last mod, called GOW's Better Veterancy. This mod significantly increases the amount of experience needed to reach the next unit rank, but it makes the leadership bonuses you get from high rank much more impactful. You will see a much bigger dynamic between low experience armies and higher experience armies, even if they include lower tier troops. It makes keeping a unit alive throughout a campaign much more important and satisfying, making them very good over time. And it's a change I really think Creative Assembly should incorporate to the base game because it makes experience ranks for units feel much more important across a campaign. That is it for our mod overview. We are now going to do a unit showcase, looking at the new lords, heroes, and units brought in this mod collection to Cathay. First, looking at Ying in the Sea Dragon herself, I do want to note before that not all of her units will be available to the other Cathay lords. Some of them have to be recruited after you confederate her, although some of them can be recruited through buildings or landmarks, usually through ports. Because she does have a pretty good naval theme and ocean theme, she has a mixed lore that incorporates some of the lore of the deep from the Vampire Coast, along with some Cathay spells. Later, once you level her up, she has access to a unique summon similar to Malachi. This is called the Golden Heron. It's basically a big Cathay Thunder Barge almost. It's very, very cool. It actually has some different upgraded versions once you get a little bit higher. She also brings with her two new generic lore choices, the Jade Sea Pirate Lord and the Jade Sea Pirate Queen. They have pretty good melee stats, okay armor, and are decent in melee. The Pirate Queen has access to bonus for infantry, high armor piercing, and poison damage. Looking at the units she brings along, we first have the Jade Sea Pirates. They come with a couple of variants, spears, ones with sword and pistol, and then dual sword variants. So in line with early tier Cathay infantry, they don't have a lot of armor. They have okay stats, but they still have their really high model count, so they can be very useful in that regard. Then moving on to our rage units, we have the Jade Sea Tepagumi. They are similar to handgunners from the Empire, so not great combat stats, but they have pretty good missile damage with armor piercing. Then we have the Dragonfleet Marines, who have a little bit smaller range, but they have higher missile strength, and they have a little bit better armor and melee stats. Next, we have the Ogre Whalers, so similar to Lead Belchers from the Ogre Kingdoms. These guys are pretty much cannoneers. They have decent range, but for this unique variant, they have bonus for large missiles that cause a harpoon contact effect, which reduces their missile resistance and charge speed and speed in general, so it can be very useful if you put them in the right niche. Then looking at some of our other infantry, we have the Jade Sea Ronin. These are kind of Nipponese mercenaries that are samurai themed. They have decent armor, pretty good offensive stats, along with armor piercing and bonus force infantry. Playing on their samurai theme, they actually have two cool unique abilities. They have the Bonsai charge. So when they're charging, they get increased speed, missile resist, and actually can cause tear and become unbreakable for a short time. Playing on that samurai theme, then we also have the Sea Dragon's Hatamoto. So these are the personal guard of Yin, so they have higher armor than the Ronin, missile block chance, better offensive and actually much better defensive stats, so they're good on both sides. Armor piercing and bonus for infantry, along with the two previously discussed abilities. Then we have Yicha Jungle Fighters. These are a unit that can only be recruited once you have captured Itza and built its landmark. They're pretty cool, pretty good in melee, and have a nice missile attack that is bonus for large and poison. Ansat Susha, who are kind of our shinobi ninja themed guys. So poison attacks, they have a flaming shuriken attack. Overall really, really cool. Then looking at our Tigerman mod, we first have the J-Claw Warlord, the generic lord. Very good combat stats, good damage. He also can get a ranged attack and some good support abilities. We have the Challenger's Vanguard, our melee champion, so very heavily armored, great stats. Overall just very, very tanky, hard to kill. Then we have the Tendao Shadow, an assassin character. Overall, very good stats still. They have Weeping Blade, bonus with infantry, poison attacks, and a missile attack. Very, very dangerous. Then looking at the units themselves, we have the Tigermen, who have a couple of variants. These are the Daggers and Chakram. Generally, they're not super armored, but they have very good combat stats and are kind of shock troops. We have some with shields and bows, and spears. Next, we have the Steelpoke Tigermen. These are the higher tiers, so they generally have a little bit more armor. These guys do have the great swords with armor piercing. We have Halberd variants, who have the anti-large. We have the Tendao Assassins. They are basically a unit variant of the Tendao Shadow, the hero assassin. So, pretty good stats. Weeping Blade, good missile attack with poison. We have the Tigerman Berserkers, who are very, very offensive. They have Sunder Armor, very high charge bonus, very high weapon strength. They are going to be very good damage healers. Then our last Tigerman unit is the Bomber Hulks. These are guerrillas with a lot of offensive capabilities. Not too much armor, but they do have frenzy and good melee attack. But the big thing is that they have a bomb attack that does lots of explosive damage and armor piercing, so very, very good. Let's check out the rest of the units that are part of our mod collection. Then looking at our other units, let's start first with the Jade Warriors with spears. So they trade their armor-piercing halberds for spears, but they gain a shield in return compared to normal Jade Warriors. Then looking at our Celestial Dragon Guard, our first variant are the Tower Shields. So they basically become a Sword and Shield variant, so slightly better offensive stats, but they lose the anti-large armor piercing of the normal variant. Then looking at the Celestial Dragon Bannermen, they trade their halberds for spears, so not quite as much armor piercing, but they do have Encourage, which is nice because they'll support nearby units with more leadership. And they have the defensive stance as well, so they'll get more armor and charge resist when they're not moving. Then we have our Non-Go Riflemen, so very similar to Empire Handgunners. Pretty decent armor piercing and range. Not good melee stats though. So then we have our Fire Lance Warriors, who also have a mounted variant. They're very cool because they have very good armor, pretty good melee stats along with fire attacks, but the big thing that's cool is they have a really short range precursor missile that is explosive and fire damage that actually causes negative leadership, so they're very good at breaking formations and then charging in. Then we have our Fire Arrow Crossbowmen, so they basically have rocket assisted crossbows, so they have really long range, really good missile strength, but they have very low model count. It's only 32 per model, so they are very vulnerable to enemy missile attacks or getting into melee. So you really want to keep them protected. Next we have our Lion Gunners. These are basically a big musket unit, so very slow reload time, but very high damage. They have pretty good armor and melee stats, so they're kind of a hybrid unit on that front. We have our Peasant Horse Archers, so basically just a ranged variant of the Peasant Horsemen. Still very low armor, not great combat stats, not great leadership, but they'll find a use in the early campaign. And we have our Dragon Cavalry. They are a missile unit that is cavalry, a little bit shorter range than the Peasant Horse Archers, but they get more armor piercing. And for the Fire Lancers, we actually have two different versions that come from different mods. This is the one that follows the earlier Fire Lancers that are on foot, so pretty decent melee stats. These guys are tier 5, I believe, but they have that precursor missile that does lots of damage. They have really high charge bonus. They're overall very competent cavalry and can be very good. Then for our other version of the Fire Lancers, they have a little bit more armor, still really good combat stats and charge bonus. They don't have the precursor missile attack, but in exchange they have an explosive charge. So when they are actually charging, they imbue fire weakness onto their target, so which can be pretty cool. Then we have our Guardian Lion Monsters Cavalry, which are pretty cool. So they are a tier 4, tier 5 unit. They have very good stats, armor piercing. These versions have anti-infantry, but the big cool thing about them is that they have some physical resist, immune to contact effects, but the big thing is they can actually remove physical resist and the demonic attribute from nearby units along with their magic attacks. So they're very good at fighting demons. Then for the higher tier version, we have the Jade Palace Guard, so still really good combat stats. They have magic attacks, they imbue fire weakness, have anti-large, but then they also have some really cool abilities. We have the Echo of Offering, which actually gives them Mastery of Elemental Winds if they're in melee, which is pretty cool, so they support your army that way. And then they have Jade Rush, which gives them some big bonuses when they are charging, which is pretty cool. They get extra physical resist, melee attack, and stuff. We have the War Elephant, which, as you would think, is kind of like the Mammoth, but a lot less armor, still pretty good combat stats, bonus infantry, good charge unit, has some howdy units on the back with handgunners, whatever you want to call them, rifles. Then we have our Tigers, which are a tier 1 unit. Pretty good armor piercing, anti-infantry, but low leadership and not very much armor, so they can be pretty glass cannony if you're not careful. Looking at our other artillery units, first we have the Cathay Bolt Thrower. Like you would think, it has pretty decent range and anti-large missiles. Then we have the Cathay Mortar. We actually have two variants. So they're a little bit less accurate than the Empire version, but they fire more frequently than those would. So pretty decent armor piercing and explosive missile damage. Then we have the Firecrackers version. So they trade armor piercing for flaming ammunition, and they also imbue disarray on their targets. So it reduces their missile block chance and their range capabilities along with their speed and melee defense. We have the Juggernauts. These are kind of similar to flame cannons. So pretty decent range. They have really high missile strength and you burnt because they're fire attacks, but they only have 4 ammunition. So you really have to be careful with what you target with them. We have our Iron Hell cannons, which are pretty cool. So shorter range, but high armor piercing, kind of similar to the Hellblaster volley gun. And the unit I'm really excited to show off, the Divine Lance battery. So it is basically a big harpoon on top of a dragon turtle. Pretty good range, but very high missile damage. Very good armor. You will want to keep it protected. Even if it is distant melee, it is a really big target, so you have to watch out for that. Then we have the Bastion Cannon, which is similar to Queen Bess from the Vampire Coast. They are a very powerful unit. You can only recruit them when you have the Bastion Gates at tier 5, so very limited quantity. They have flaming ammunition and armor piercing, but they also cause monstrous impact similar to the Dreadquake mortars from the Chaos Dwarves. And last of all, we have our Starflash rockets. So they trade a little bit of their armor piercing instead for the blinded contact effect. So they're pretty cool when you actually see them fire. But that is our unit showcase. Lots of new stuff to enjoy in our Cathay campaign. Let's start our new legendary campaign as Miao Ying.
Show courage, show harmony, and show unity. This is the Cathayan way.
Hello everyone, Warhammer here with our first episode of our Ultimate Modded campaign for Grand Cathay, playing as Miao Ying. She did receive some small updates in Update 6.1, so we're going to look at those real fast. That changed her faction and lord effects. So now she gets defensive supplies faction-wide, along with a big reduction cost for Great Bastion buildings. Also gets negative corruption faction-wide. The leadership and ammunition, I believe, were still part of her old kit. But as part of one of our mods, she actually gets the chance for unusual locations to spawn in the Great Bastion when she controls it, which is pretty cool. And speaking of our mods, let's cover them real fast in a little bit more detail. So our first one is going to update the Great Bastion mechanic. So you'll see a little bit more variety in enemies like mentioned before, but you'll also see some random encounters. But some of the big things that this mod does actually is make it a little bit more dynamic. So sometimes when you actually defend battles, you'll get access to veteran Cathay units that you can recruit in the mercenary panel. They're only earned through battles at the Great Bastion though. And something cool is that Nangao and Wei Jin also play a part in the Great Bastion because they're the fortress cities that kind of keep this place under control. So if either of these two falls into enemy hands, not into Cathay hands, then there's actually some negatives that come across the Great Bastion. Then we also have our Caravan mod, which is going to give us more enemy variety. It also will adjust caravans so that the more cargo your caravans have, the more desirable they're going to be for enemies to attack. So you will see more encounters that way. It will also affect their unit recruitment. You'll be able to recruit units a little bit more frequently and with greater variety of what you can choose from, along with some new heroes. Looking at our guys real fast, what do you want to do? Lone Whisperers or Clandestine? We get more ranged units. We get 2 crossbows and 2 peasant archers. And our guys have more experience, which I think we actually want to do the experience one because of our mod. That's going to make their leadership a lot more sturdy. But because a legendary campaign can be quite difficult in early battles sometimes, we're going to go to Castle Drakenhof first, so we can get the Von Karstein Blade. But then another big thing is the Wujing Compass. So as you can see, there are new, I don't want to call them abilities, but new functions for the Wujing Compass. So each direction has some additional bonuses, some that scale. For the Great Bastion, you'll see that there's actually a chance for a spirit army to spawn outside the gate to attack enemies out there, which is pretty cool. That is controlled by the AI. As you direct more energy here, it increases the chance at the final point that an army will actually spawn, but before that, it increases the strength of the army. For the Celestial Lake, you have a Celestial Tribute which will spawn, and it's a big boost gold, a big boost to your gold, but it can be can incur rebel and bandit encounters if you don't get there fast enough. With the Dragon Emperor's Wrath, which is really, really cool. This is one I really like. So when you're directed here, it actually will give some bonuses for your Wuxing War Compass stuff. It can give them a lightning ability, but when it's higher tier, actually, you get some really cool abilities for your Astromancers and your Wuxing War Compass, which makes them overcharged, where they actually can get Spell Mastery and increased Woods of Magic power reserves and stuff like that. It's very, very cool. For the Warpstone Desert, the big thing is that because the Wuxing War Compass, I always say War Compass, but just the Wuxing Compass channels the Woods of Magic. If you build up too much energy and all this stuff, eventually it can actually cause a demonic incursion. So every once in a while, you have to target the Warpstone Desert to push all that energy out. That will prevent those incursions. But the Warpstone Desert also gives some bonuses for caravans like normal, but it does increase the chance for caravans to get more recruitment when you're actually set over here. So let's do that one first. For our first little bit, that'll help our first caravan become a little bit stronger, since hopefully you can pick up some of those units along the way. Another thing to mention is that our magistrates, we have the mod currently equipped, but I'm not going to use it off the start because if it does get updated later in the campaign, I'm afraid it might break the save. So what we're going to do is not use it at all, but it will still be active, and then when it gets updated, it should be save game compatible and add the new changes to Kislev hopefully in the near future. For our technology tree, we have a greatly expanded technology tree. Should incorporate all of our mod units. But something for the caravans actually is that some of the technologies actually increase the recruitment chance you can get for certain units. The higher tier technologies will get you more, higher tier units. So, and because the tree is so big now, the author of this mod actually included 2 technologies up here: Research Harmony Yang and Yin, which will give you a big boost to research rate. But it does take a little while to get there, but it's probably worth it in the long run, so we'll do that. But first I want to do Bonsai Care, because this is going to give us growth and control faction-wide, which will be really, really nice, because we want to build up our stuff as fast as we can.
Schematics from Nangao.
And then for Ying, the Sea Dragon, she brings a lot of units, but some of them are only recruitable by her, or when you confederate her. Some of them will be available at ports, which we'll see in a little bit. For our mod units, we have, for example, our Jade Warriors with spears. We have our Farlance Warriors and stuff available from the basic barracks. But for the Farlance stuff, you'll actually have to start building the Forge line to be able to recruit a lot of them. We have our Tigers and Peasant Horsemen, Peasant Horse Archers, and Dragon Cavalry available in the Cavalry building. Again, some of these require additional buildings. For the Guardian Lion Cavalry, they will actually require stuff in the Celestial Observatory to be able to unlock them. The Tigermen have 2 distinct building lines. This one is for the Assassin character and Tendao Assassin unit. Over here is for all the other recruitment for the Tigermen, along with the Tigerman champion up here, who is pretty awesome. We'll have to try to get him as quickly as possible. So that's about it. Let's jump into our first battle right here. Let's get our Alchemist in. Before we do that, though, I do want to send out a thank you to our channel members, who we will start to rename some stuff after. First, we have Twisted Fate, Ethanor Twisted Fate. We'll... Oh. Twister Fate. Oh no, yeah. We'll actually save you for censure. Oh. And our Twisted Fate will take our first Lord Trace, which we will recruit a new Jade Claw Warlord once we take our first settlement, so he can start right next to us. But let's get into our first battle.
Of the great battle.
First battle of our Miao Ying campaign, Skyjunk, taking out some of these archers and Spearman with its first shot, 26 kills. I'm very excited to see the different variants of this that we get later in the campaign. But Lord Magistrate coming in with some Spearmen, Peasant Horsemen, trying to come at us. We use Miao Ying to block them, keep them out in the open so we can very quickly take them down with some crossbow bolts. But we have our Jade Warriors kind of holding for now. We don't want to go too far in, but our Alchemist is going to go out as well. Archers dealt with pretty quickly from the Skyjunk, along with Searing Doom coming down from our Alchemist. But Miao Ying, we are going to go right after this Lord Magistrate. The Peasants should take a fair amount of damage from the crossbows coming in along with the Skyjunk. But let's see a little bit of a charge here. Jade Warriors against the Peasants who just run away right off the bat. Over here, Alchemist by herself at the moment. With Yelling in her dragon form, going after that. Lord Magistrate doing some good damage to him, but ooh! We charge in our Jade Warriors and they take a little bit of friendly fire from our Skyjunk. Luckily it didn't hit too bad, it did some damage, but it only killed 2. So we're going to pull them back just to avoid that. I think we did switch it onto the archers once again, but yeah. Skyjunks have a habit of, getting some friendly fire, just like custom rocket batteries. But Miao Ying, we switch back over to human form so she can get some heals down. Trying to focus down this Lord real fast with our crossbows. Get this battle over with. Because it shouldn't be too difficult. We're going to use that little bit of time to throw down some heals on her, but also kill him off. Get the extra little bit of post-battle loot. Got a little bit of friendly fire on our Jade Warriors, but luckily we didn't kill too many of them with our Skyjunk. Not a lot of money, we don't really need the replenishment, so let's take the experience.
The storm dragon.
Alright.
Witness my power.
Second battle real fast unless I'm forgetting something. Oh, that is something to mention, is that for Miao Ying, looking at her unique skills up here as part of our mods, this one's hard to see because there's so many mod units added. But this gives us a really cool ability that makes a lot of our units better once they're below 50% HP. It's kind of like Defenders of the Great Bastion and stuff like that, so it's pretty cool. This one gives recruit rank for artillery plus recruitment duration going down by 1 turn. Then we can get some bonuses to Celestial Dragon Guard and crossbows. And the last one is bonuses to flying units, so Skyjunks, Moonbirds, our Onyx Crowmen and stuff like that, along with the Sky Lanterns. Oh, it actually benefits the Wuxing War Compass too, which is cool. But we'll use that in a little bit once we level up. Let's fight this battle too. The early battles with Cathay, you really have to fight manually to not take too many casualties, because auto-resolve hates the Peasant Long Spearmen and Jade Warriors. Another little quick battle up here. No Lord this time, but 2 Jade Warriors instead of just Peasants, plus another thing of Peasant Archers. So our Skyjunk trying to do some damage initially on its first shot against these Jade Warriors, but it will switch targets on these Archers. They're the real threat. All of our other crossbows will focus on these other guys in the back. If they want to shoot at our Jade Warriors, that's okay. These guys do have shields. But Miao Ying and the Alchemist going to get some good attacks up here. We are going to use our Wrath of the Storm Dragon, though, to boost our magic and melee attack on these guys, because we can't quite hold back this charge yet. But Miao Ying is going to break them up a little bit first. Now that the first archers are gone, we are trying to get some shots with our Skyjunk and kill these guys off, but we got really close to doing some more friendly fire to these Jade Warriors. So we're going to pull them back just in case. These ones over here will be safe, though. But Alchemist throwing down, Searing Doom doing plenty of damage. 40 kills very, very quickly. Skyjunk, 37. Crossbows is trying to hit the Jade Warriors. They're the bigger threat since they do have a fair amount of armor. But Miao Ying switching into Dragon Form will tire out these guys and hopefully get another tire out if we can get a good charge in the back on these guys right here. Boom. Nice. That was a great attack. Which, if you guys haven't seen, Games Workshop just announced Cathay for the old world. And Miao Ying's model actually looks awesome. Neat. Just gonna occupy it. Oh, something else I forgot to mention is that a part of Yin's mod, it actually changes some of the starting enemies in Cathay. So, Looker for Heart still starts up here, but this faction over here now is actually like a Jade Pirate. So I think they're vampire ghosts, but it's some cool new enemy to fight. That's a part of her mod, uses some of those units. Yin starts in Lustry and does add some new enemies over there. But it's pretty cool. It's like another little enemy for you to take out. Let's get our Jade Claw Warlord. Okay, you have Lone Beast, which gives minus leadership to your army, but it gives you Unbreakable, big boost in melee attack and armor piercing along with ward save. This, however, gives you increased campaign movement range and melee attack for your units, but reduces ammunition. I actually don't care about that too much because of Yao Ming is a basketball player. Miao Ying, she gives bonuses to ammunition faction-wide, so we'll do that one.
Steel dolls, flesh wings.
Alright, for our units here, I think we want to go more archers to start. Actually, no, we can probably get peasant archers here. Let's get Jade Warriors with spears, since we won't have their recruitment here most likely. But Miao Ying, we definitely want to put into Route Marcher because from what I can remember, you can't reach this settlement in one turn if you don't take it. So we'll do that, and we'll put a point into Earthblood because I want to get down here into Talons of the Night and Regrowth as soon as I can. For Alchemist, we'll do increased mobility, and let's look a little bit at the unique skills she gains as a part of the expanded skill trees mod. So up here, this is just available to all the different wizards, although this part is a little bit different depending on which magic lore you use. But she gains more armor, weapon strength, and then you can get cooldown to spells and some spell intensity. But the specializations, you can get one that increases campaign movement range, and some elixir bonuses. You have Potent Mixture and Enliven, which gives you speed and vigor when you cast a spell. Pretty cool, along with missile strength and hit points for the army. That's going to be really good for Miao Ying. The Courtier of the House of Secrets, become more of an agent, so you get the Assassinate success chance, along with bonuses to melee defense for yourself and nearby units when you're casting. Then Forbidden Techniques, cool. Reduce enemy melee attack for armies in region, and then you give more armor piercing for our Celestial Lion, Moonbirds, and Onyx Crowmen. You have Polished, and then this is they get Bound Missile Mirror, which is pretty cool. The Metalworker, you gain armor, post battle loot, and weapon strength, along with armor, reduce cooldown on your abilities, and reduce enemy armor. And you gain a bound spell of Searing Doom. Okay, that's pretty cool. We'll decide which one we want to do later. Let's look through diplomacy for our first turn. Let's get non-aggression and trading with the Imperial Wardens. Celestial Loyalist as well, trade agreement and military access. Zhao Ming, we can get turn 1 trade agreement if we join war. Burning Wind Nomads are pretty far away, so let's do them first, because we don't really have a risk of them coming after us. We'll get a little bit of gold out of it. And that's probably it for our first turn. For Nangao, let's switch this over to control for now, so we can keep our public order in control so we don't get any minus growth penalties. Because this is only a 2-settlement province, you really need all the growth you can get to get this higher tier. But I do want to get artillery as soon as I can. So we'll get that. We want to get a Gate Master as soon as we can up here. And then up for Nanli, let's... Oh, wait, I forgot about that.
I stand
We don't have enough gold to do that. Let's... If we do this, do we still have enough to recruit an archer? Yes, we do. Let's do that. We might have our caravan encounter for our first turn. Which, because the mod changes how encounters come depending on your cargo, your earlier battles can be pretty difficult until you get more units. So we might see a fair amount of encounters. Hopefully we get good options though, so we can gain some good units and some heroes hopefully. Imperial Wardens. Okay, so you can get caravan stumble upon a portrayal of allies that have been lost for some time. The guides can show them way back to friendly regions, although this will cause a short delay in getting the caravan to its destination. So we could get another unit of archers or caravan guard. Which, how are they different from peasant spearmen? 24 melee attack. These must be like sword guys instead of spears. Let's take the archers then. Yeah, Miao Ying, let's take Deadly Tomb Tower. And we still need to rename this guy, I forgot about that. Twister of Fate. Which is interesting, Twister of Fate, since you're going to be fighting the Twisted Twins up here with Village the Curseling. Let's besiege this while we move our Dragon Man into range.
I'm with you all the way.
Does he get me in range, or do we have to march him to be able to support? Okay, he's in range. That's cool. We really have to fight these really quick, just so we don't take too much damage, like I said before.
Today we face evil. Today, as on all,
It's our first battle with our Jade Claw Warlord, though. I don't know if he'll actually be able to get here in time to actually do anything. Guys, it's just two Jade Warriors, some Spearmen, and some Archers. Sky Junk, trying to get some damage, barely hits these guys on the side with just one of its rockets. The rest of it is unscathed so far. Yeah, Ying coming out. Get some early damage on, switch her into Dragon Form in a little bit. Just wanted to make sure we can get heals off as possible. But they've come in range of our archers now. They're shooting some of my peasant spearmen though, which is not great because these guys do not have armor or shields. So we're going to try to target down those guys as quick as we can. Sky Junk should break it right there with the negative penalty from artillery. And then we'll switch over to these guys as well. These guys will start to hit the Jade Warriors and Peasant Spearmen. Alchemist, big Searing Doom there though, on top of these Jade Warriors. Not too many kills, but did lots of damage. Skyjunk trying to finish up the job though. Got these guys in the back. We're going to chase down those Peasant Long Spearmen. All of our crossbows and archers have started to focus on these Jade Warriors now. And this clump of units right there. Getting our Earth... Ooh! Big friendly fire shot right there. 13 kills. Luckily we were able to get an Earthblood off right as it hits. We did get a little bit of healing, but we've broken the army. Miao Ying just going to get some final little kills as her dragon form. Okay, a little bit of friendly fire on our Jade Warriors with our Sky Junk.
it has the honor of joining Cathay.
Alright, here we can recruit...
Serve the Emperor.
Let's get 2 archers for now. That's usually more useful for Miao Ying due to her bonuses. Let's put a point into Life Bloom now so we can get map wide healing. Another point into Searing Doom for you.
Enemy in sight.
And for here, You can do your trade resource. At the start, it's going to give us some iron, plus a little bit of income. I think we want to do full growth, actually. Let's go for yin. If you guys don't know, if you lean all the way to yin, you get extra growth, but it reduces your recruitment stuff. If you go full yang, gives you recruitment stuff, but it hurts your growth. So we want to build up growth at the start of the campaign, so that's what we're going to go for first. Let's look at any more diplomacy. Yes, trade with the Jade Custodians. They're actually trading with Union. I forgot. Union starts with control of, I think, 2 settlements down here. But she does start in Lustria. Okay, the War Compass. 8 more turns for that. And that's about the best we can do right now. So let's move on to the next turn. See if our caravan gets another battle. I don't know if it happens every turn. I think that it's usually something once every 2 turns, but maybe this mod changes that to get it a little bit more frequent. It's that's what its purpose probably was. Okay, we could get a shortcut. We lose 500 gold, but we get there a turn faster. Do I need money right now? I think Cathay's usually pretty good on money in the early game, so let's actually pay to skip a turn.
The Emperor's chosen daughter.
All right, and here's here's going to be a fun battle. They brought their full army over. They've got 4 more peasant archers. That's a lot. Peasant spearmen and peasant horsemen don't matter too much, but let's bring over our Jade Cloud Warlord, make sure he can come in and help.
We stride on for Cathay.
And let's just look at diplomacy real fast before I do that. See if there's anything interesting. We could get military access if we join war against one of the factions of the Imperial Warden's enemies. The Kazakh there, I believe they start over here, and they usually get absorbed pretty quickly. So let's see if we can get some, almost 1,400 out of that. Yes, please. But let's take out this battle. We do need to make sure we fight it, because that's a lot of firepower, so we don't want to lose too much. This battle is actually quite a bit more dangerous. Still mostly peasant units, but they have a lot of archers this time, which are the big threat. So gonna try to whittle them down as fast as we can with their sky junk. As soon as they come into range of our crossbows and archers, we're gonna target them down. But this will be our first battle where we can actually see our Jade Claw Warlord get into action. He's pretty fast, so he should get there pretty quick as long as we get him with some movement actions. But sky junk actually doing pretty well. It's in accuracy on our primary target, though. Getting some nice casualties on the Jade Warriors that are in front of them. They're not quite advancing yet. There we go. But Lord Magistrate, not going to do too much in melee, but he does have Tacticians, so we will buff nearby units with decent abilities. So more melee defense, more reload skill. Sky Junk. I decide to switch it over to another archer unit because we're just going to try to weaken these guys down enough so once we actually start hitting with them with our archers, they will go down pretty quick just from sustaining so much damage. So the more we get down quickly, the easier it's going to be to rout all of them. Peasant Horsemen coming out. We threw out our Alchemist and our Peasant Long Spearmen to break the charge. We did get our Charge Defense and Charge Reflection on these guys, so they will do pretty good at killing those guys very quickly. But the enemy bowmen have started to get in range, and they're shooting some of our Jade Warriors along with our Celestial Dragon crossbows, but they do have shields, so they're not really going to take too much from that. But still a lot of units, though. Jade Claw Warlord, 10 more seconds. Alchemist gets down really nice and new on top of those peasant spearmen. We are going to move in most of our melee to try to tie these guys down. These peasant spearmen, we're trying to push into our archers a little bit. So we're going to throw in those Jade Warriors with spears. These guys, however, did manage to find a gap after we pulled these Jade Warriors up. So they are going to push to our back line. Jade Warriors with crossbows have decent stats and armor, so they shouldn't do too bad against the peasant long spearmen. But Miao Ying, after throwing down an Earthblood, is going to go into dragon form, so hopefully we can get some big charges and terror outs on those other units. 3 peasant archers still active, although they are about half health. The other 3 have routed, although the one just came back. Yeah, we have broken off most of this flank. Skyjump, 159 kills, doing plenty of work. Over here, our peasant archers are stuck in melee a little bit. This unit of Jade Warriors did manage to come back and get them into melee. So we're going to try to help them out with Miao Ying right there. This is a decent charge. Seeing Noon coming down on these other peasant spearmen. Jade Warriors helping out these peasant archers, but we'll pull them back in a little bit just so we don't take too much damage, hopefully. We've broken most of the archers, although some are coming back just barely struggling to get there. They should rout pretty quickly once we focus fire on them with our range. This peasant duel over here, going alright. They do have a slight advantage from the terrain, being on a hill. But our guys are going to hold up pretty well. We have more models, so we'll get through them without too much of an issue. Yeah, we can back into human form so we can start throwing down some more Earthbloods. She's going to go right after this Lord Magistrate, though. We need to shut him down because he is giving bonuses to these nearby units with Tacticians, so he is a problem. These Jade Warriors having a little bit of a rough time against the enemy Jade Warriors due to their enhanced stats from Legendary difficulty. But our Jade Claw Warlord, let's see him in action a little bit. Awesome, uses his big like scimitar. I'm not exactly sure what to call that, but nice. And the person who did the animations and the models for these guys is really, really good. I think the voiceover work as well is very excellent. This is basically like a DLC quality mod for the most part. Very excellent. Just get this little missile attack there. The bomb. It's our own Jade Warriors a little bit, but we've broken the army now. We're just going to use that time to kill off the Lord for some extra money and get some heals down on our characters. Too shabby. It did take a little bit of damage though. Let's just occupy it. Your recruitment. Oh, we can actually get Jade Warriors here if we would like. Yeah, let's do that actually. And J-Claw Warlord, you did pretty good. But you can get... Ooh, you can get Call of the Primal Horn. It's basically stand your ground on level 1. That's pretty good. It'll be very useful. And let's just check Diplomacy one more time. I think we did that before the battle, but I always forget. Miao Ying, let's put a point into Power of Yin. That's another lore passive that'll be good. It reduces enemy armor. Do you want to do metal shifting? Probably. Metal shifting is good because it gives armor piercing to other units. She is casting, which is nice. Yeah, because Jade Warriors and early Cathay infantry does not have good armor piercing, so it will be useful. Especially if we start facing some more heavily armored stuff. What the question now is once we take out this starting enemy army for us, where do we go? We could go further east towards the coast against the Jade Pirates and the Dark Elves. We also have escaping to the south. Ooh, oh, you can get an Alchemist? Yes. Ooh, the Turtle Gate is under attack. So we could send... We could leave the garrison by itself. We could send weak reinforcements, moderate, or strong. Let's do moderate to kind of gauge what these encounters are going to be like. Ooh. Okay, that's actually a fair amount of stuff. We could fight it ourselves, but if we auto-resolve it, this should be okay. Yeah, that took a lot of damage, though. This army doesn't stick around after this, so let's take the money. That should help pay for the army we paid to go there. Well, that's good to know, though. Yeah, now we know that those random encounters are much more dangerous, so we'll probably send the strong reinforcements next time. Let's go take Pume. This, we might not even have to fight this one manually because it's only tier 1 and the garrison is fairly low, and we defeated their army that actually had other units, so
Step steady, step sure.
check it out once we have our Jade Claw Warlord close enough to reinforce.
Suffer the temper.
Low casualties with a close victory? Sure.
Face a dragon
Yeah, not too bad.
Cathay.
We'll heal most of this up
Make a watchtower of it. The
over this turn and the next turn. Except for the Peasant Long Spearman. Okay, and like I said before, the Magistrates Ottomans, we're going to leave that alone, and hopefully that mod gets updated to include the changes that Kislev received in 6.1 to the Ottomans. So I don't want to recruit any stuff yet in hopes that it doesn't break the save file. But let's do increased mobility still. Miao Ying, let's do Flesh of Stone because the physical resist can be very nice. I want to get to regrowth and Talons of Night, like I said before. Let's put a point into Missile Mirror. I'm terrible at using this, but we'll try to make good use of it. We're gonna be able to recruit some artillery when we're coming back this way. We've got a fair amount of frontline stuff. Let's get some more archers. And our Jade Claw Warlord, you can start coming back this way actually, because yeah, we could go after the Jade Pirates over here or Skaven. The Skaven can be really, really nasty though early game if we don't have any good infantry or artillery. So I think we actually come after Shenyang because Zhao Ming sometimes has a hard time getting there. So we will try to get there before him, hopefully, because this actually has a good landmark. It can make a lot of money, especially because of its landmark, and as a trade resource, it's a very nice settlement. We'll try to get there as soon as we can. Let's put a point to Route Marcher for you.
The hunt moves ever forward.
And our province bonus for the Lens of Stone and Steel. We're just recruiting archers, so I don't necessarily need this anymore. And this is more income, but I want to go full growth, so we're going to get rid of that one as well. And sometimes there's a Beastman army around here, if I remember right. And I know originally in the start of Warhammer 3, I thought there was a Tzeentch faction that started over here as well, rather than these Rebel Lords. Maybe I'm confusing that. Maybe that's some of the mod alters, but I don't think so. Because it used to be a pretty difficult starting enemy as well. Okay, our caravan encounter, you can fight an ogre army. Our army's a little bit damaged. Or we can lose some cargo, get positive relations with Goldtooth. That's actually better. We don't lose a unit. And I don't really care about the cargo right now because we have a fair amount of money. Let's do that. Because that will help us get a trade agreement with Greasus eventually. That'll help keep us safe in the Mountains of Marn at least. He usually is pretty friendly on that regard. Technology, we've finished Bonsai Care, which is nice for the growth and extra control. Let's start going for research harmony in, so we get the extra research rate, but this benefits range units more, so we'll use that a little bit. If we march,
There can be no fatigue.
we could get there. Actually, I'm thinking about it this way.
Move now.
We're going to keep Miao Ying in the settlement, because that way she continues to heal a little bit more. But she will also provide a nice public order bonus. Okay, does marble give reduced construction costs? No, it does not. I know it does for several factions, but not for her, apparently. Let's go. We're going to go full growth and yin. We could just do this one that also does control. Let's do that one, and we'll do another growth building here. Nanli, it'll take 7 turns for Nangao to get enough growth to hit tier 3. So let's do this one first, that way we can upgrade our growth building.
Favored daughter.
Miao Ying, we're going to recruit some artillery. Just more archers. Yeah. Well, we're only going to have 2 recruitment slots here anyway, most likely. Or we could do this, actually. We could switch this over and get 3. Let's do that, because we'll use that next turn. So we'll just leave this as is. We won't recruit any units. Our caravan has 1 more turn. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, the Skaven, the Skaven are always a nightmare. I'm hoping that by the time we take some of the territory near the Warpstone Desert, we'll have better units that we can actually deal with them in mass. Because the big problem is just if they have multiple armies, you can get ambushed. It's just awful. So it's like we have to be very careful and choose our battles to where we can get best advantage of. Best use of artillery to get an advantage. Cool, Von Karstein Blade. Ooh, you get some Huntsmen as well. Let's stick the Von Karstein Blade on Miao Ying. She's the one that's going to need it. We also have the Iron Curse icon, which is great for missile resist. Jet Amulet. No ancillaries at the moment.
I was born to wield it.
Yeah, so we're going to come down here. Get some recruitment from artillery. We'll bring him this way.
Where the wind bends,
so we can go after the Shrine of the Alchemist next turn, because it looks like... Okay, what's his face? Xiaoming actually has taken Taizu, so it is going to be a race to get to Shengyang first, most likely.
The Storm Dragon.
But we can get... Oh, we can get Jade Lance or Fire Lance Warriors, because we do have the Nangao Forge. Let's get some Juggernauts, which are sort of like flame cannons. Cathay bolt throwers are pretty good just because they have anti-large and they have pretty decent range. Let's get one of these guys. Pretty expensive, but that's okay. Okay, let's build up Po Mei first, since it is the capital and it is near the Great Bastion. We want to make sure we can defend it. Our Caravan Lord, let's put a point into... We should have done this one. So that gives him experience per turn.
Surely a gift from the dragon.
Let's start a new caravan. Longbow Whisperer, so you get Jade Warriors, Peasant Archers, Peasant Spearmen, and 2 Longbow. For Hunter, you get... Okay, you start with a Hunter, Ogre Hunter, that's pretty good. Noble Trappers, Saber Tusks that have Frenzy, and we reduce chance of the battle being an ambush. It's a lot of Ogre units that we don't benefit from with any of our skills. Plus, I like Longbow, they can be pretty good. Okay, where do we send you, though? Is it Marienburg that has the Warden of Trade to start off with? I think so. Yeah, let's go to Marienburg then.
The Emperor's chosen daughter.
I have you march.
Now,
I don't think Miao Ying will be able to support even if we march her. So we'll leave it at that. Oh, we didn't level up our new Caravan Lord. Since we get the bonus from the Warpstone Desert on the compass, let's do Inspiring Presence.
A tool of great efficiency.
Yeah, I really hope we can get to Shenyang before Xiaoming. If not, we'll go after the Skaven after that, since it does kind of lead into their territory as well. But Xiaoming may go for, is it oh no, he already has that one. That's Jingpo, that's the one that is owned by the Skaven. Well, at bare minimum, we can take the Shrine of the Alchemist and then sell it back to him for a fair amount of gold, probably. I'd really like to get Shenyang. Get another alchemist, yes. Okay.
Tiger and Dragon stand as one.
Yeah, you can't get there even if I march you. So what we're gonna do,
I am the desert storm.
I really want to get this back into neutral so we're not getting a growth penalty.
Warden of
So Miao Ying is gonna garrison the city,
We
but
stride
we'll
on
have this guy
for
recruit
Cathay.
some new units. Let's just get archers. Or actually, we haven't used Nanga Grenadiers yet. And Iron Hill Gunners. We'll get one of these. We are getting close to being neutral income, though, which can be bad.
Miao Ying.
But, oh, yeah, come on. We got to race him there.
I stand apart.
Rhesus, you're at war with Carrick. Azorn, you're probably going to wipe them out pretty soon. Let's see if we join war against them, if you'll give us a trade agreement. Yes. Okay. I have a feeling that we're not going to get to Shenyang. It was a risk. We knew that. Because sometimes when I've played Miao Ying before, he takes longer, depending on how his battles go. Because what, he has a starting army, or starting enemy, which is what, Nurgle? No, it's a Cathay faction as well, that's right. But then he has a minor Skaven faction. Against the Skaven, we could fight or we could retreat and lose glory. Longbow Riders, heck no. Oh, it's an ambush too. Okay, good thing. Good thing I fought this manually.
Feel honored! We fight for the Dragon Emperor! We fight for the Moon Empress!
Getting ambushed by Skaven on our second caravan, I believe. No, the second. Yeah, our second caravan, because this has the Great Longbow Riders. Mostly Skaven slaves, although there are a few things of clan rats. No range units, which is lucky for us. But we're going to try to get our Jade Warriors with halberds and peasant spearmen into melee as soon as we can to protect our archers. Once that's done, we will find some good targets for our Longbow Riders to go in for some charges. We don't want to go against the spears over here right away, so we're going to go after these clan rats. Pretty good charge right there. Great Longbow Riders do have a fair amount of armor and decent combat stats, so they should do pretty alright. And they have decent weapon strength, so they're going to get through the low armor of these clan rats pretty easily. Alchemists leading the defense on this side. We have pulled our archers back because they were trying to get caught by these Skaven Slave spears. Get them into a position where we can get some more shots off. But Alchemists can throw down nice Singing on top of several units right here. But our Jade Warriors with halberds are getting a little bit surrounded, so they're starting to take a little bit more damage. The Skaven Ambush Army is led by a Master Assassin who can be very, very annoying. He has very good combat stats despite having poor armor, and he does have access to Weeping Blade, which reduces armor by half when he's in melee, so we have to be really careful of what he fights. But Longer Riders cycle charging through, gonna get all these Thunder Rats in the back, break them real fast. Another big Searing Doom coming in, along with a big cavalry charge. Hopefully that's enough to rout all these units, which we do get 3 of them. 4th one probably break away to the others routing. Pretty much all the Skaven infantry is given up so far, except for this unit of Clan Rats over here. They're fighting Peasant Spearmen and actually doing about even damage so far. But we're going to try to do as much damage to this Master Assassin with our arrows as possible. He is getting some of those arrows blocked by the trees, though. But we're just trying to clean up the units while we deal damage to him, because he's the only thing that's holding the army together at the moment. But our melee units are trying to chase off these guys. They probably won't be able to catch them because of Scurry Away. But we'll use whatever time we can to try to do the damage. That is ideal. I didn't quite see this charge over here, so we did not get our own charge off these Skaven Slaves, but they should do okay. Halberds finally getting through those Skaven Slave spears. Jade Longmas in the background, chasing off some of these units, trying to get some cycle charges into them. But we started to move our Lord Magistrate and Jade Halberds, along with our Alchemist coming around, trying to get off this Master Assassin and get him taken care of. At the time I actually set these guys in, I forgot about Weeping Blade though. But he does get debuffed with Plague Arrest, so he has no armor right now. Yeah, but Weeping Blade still going to be very, very nasty. The Lord Magistrate has 50 armor to start with, so it does go down quite a bit, along with Vigor affecting that as well. Over here, still just trying to finish these guys off a little bit at a time. These guys have come back, and the ones in the back as well, but we've moved up our archers trying to pick these guys off. It's pretty much just the Skaven Assassin, but like I said, he's getting some attacks off, weakening our Alchemist a fair amount. Jade Warriors not getting too many good shots on him because of his massive melee defense. 50 melee defense is really, really high for a level 1 Lord, so we're struggling to get through that. That's a big reason why. So probably the victory is just going to have to happen from getting a little damage on him, but mostly just shattering all these units so they don't come back. That'll lower the balance of power quite a bit. We're just barely eking forward. Very, very close to victory. Finally, we get army losses. I hate this Skaven. Man, that stupid assassin would not go down. Holy crap. Put a beating on our 2 characters. Let's take the heal. Oh, so this is our first caravan upgrade. This is cool. So like I explained before, these upgrades will affect the heroes that you get. So for example, Colossal Strike will be given to your Elven Nobles if you get any of them. This one will go to your casters, or Kinkano, which is very nice. They will apply faction-wide to all of your caravans that have those heroes. But just note that these abilities don't go to every single hero, they only go to certain heroes. We don't have any nobles yet, so let's go for our Kinkano since we do have some alchemists. Oh, where's the Beastman? That's a bad spot. Oh, come on, Jiao Ming! Oh, he went from there to there. He bypassed. He bypassed freaking Shenyang. Well, that means we might be able to get there in time still. So what we're going to do is we're going to march everyone there, and hopefully we get their turn before he does. It's going to be very, very close. He'll probably still get there before us. Oh man! Oh, I should have gone for military access before I pissed him off, huh?
Together.
What if I go against your We'd have to pay you for a non-aggression pact. We'd have to pay 3,000. No, well, sorry. This has landmarks. Let's build that one up next.
The celestial.
Man, if we go all the way down here for nothing, I'm going to be mad. But that's a great spot to end our first episode, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Warhammer. I will see you in episode 2. Have a great day.